Well, hello. Thank you for taking the time to see a presentation of SOLIDWORKS. We're going to spend the next few moments to cover some of the standard capabilities that have made SOLIDWORKS the #1 selling and the #1 used product on the market today. Now, before we get into the product itself, it's very important to take a step back just to make sure everybody understands the history of SOLIDWORKS. We started in 1993, and in a very short amount of time, we established ourselves as the #1 selling 3D solid modeling or mainstream modeling product on the market today. If you take a look at revenue or you take a look at seat count, what you'll see is a very healthy and very strong growth rate. Now, these are important for anybody that's looking for an engineering design tool today, because you want to make sure that other people are using the system, that it's a safe investment, because you're not just buying the system today, you're going to be using it every day. You're investing in your CAD system each and every day you use it. So if a product is not successful, if a product doesn't have this strong growth rate like SOLIDWORKS, well, chances are, if you have to have a bug fixed or you have to have some type of, if you're hoping that it will stay up to date with the latest technology, they may not have the resources to do this. And very few products in the market really have those types of resources today. In fact, very few. SOLIDWORKS is uniquely one of the only products that not only is growing extremely fast, but we're able to take that growth and put it back into making sure that SOLIDWORKS continues to innovate and make the product more efficient, faster, and better. SOLIDWORKS offers the base product as well as Office and Office Professional, which really compose the standard capabilities of SOLIDWORKS. In addition, for analysis, you can use Cosmos Works, completely integrated into SOLIDWORKS. This will allow you to do assembly-based design and also do some of the more advanced design scenarios, such as nonlinear analysis for maybe large displacements or plastic types of designs. Partstream.net is really one of the big benefits of being a SOLIDWORKS user, because whether you're a customer who may have a need to actually put your parts on the web so other people can download them and use them in your designs, which really helps in them purchasing your parts later on, or you're a SOLIDWORKS user who may just want to be able to find standard components already built instead of having to create them from scratch. Partstream.net, and also another product, just the 350,000 SOLIDWORKS users with Content Central allow this online standard component download, usage, and development. Now, SOLIDWORKS is used throughout different industries. It's a mechanical design product, but you can see that just about any industry that you can think of they have customers. We have customers and different products that are being designed, whether it's medical, machine, electronic, etc. The one we're going to talk about today is Daka. Daka Design is a company located throughout the world, and they're a design house that does some really innovative consumer design products. You can see a few of these on the screen. These are some typical designs that have been developed by Daka, and you might see them in Sharper Image or maybe the National Geographic online store and lots of other places. The specific design that we're going to talk about in this case is an underwater propulsion device that Daka created. For the first design, as you see here on the screen, is really a professional underwater propulsion device for a diver or for a very high-end enthusiast for underwater propulsion. What they really wanted to do is make something a little less expensive and a little more geared and a little more appropriate for the consumer design market, the mass market. And what you see on the screen is the result of this redesign. This redesign was called the Dolphin Sea Scooter. And the Sea Scooter in this case it's a little lower powered and definitely manufactured for lower cost so that it's more affordable. And probably people use it at recreation and a much more, maybe in the swimming pool and other more casual types of usage. And that's the difference. And they were very successful with this. So what we're going to do is show how Daka took an older design and made some modifications and came up with a brand new design that's been very successful today. What we see on the screen is the finished Ski-Doo Dolphin design. This design represents a modification to a previous design Daka Systems had. The previous design was appropriate for the underwater scuba enthusiasts that had a higher horsepower and a higher cost. They wanted to take this older successful model and refit it so that it will be more appropriate and more stylized for the consumer design market. To start off our design, in SOLIDWORKS we're looking at the gear train assembly. This was the older design used in the professional model. We're going to make some modifications to this to make it more appropriate for the consumer design market. We need to create a cover that's going to house all these different components on the front. It's going to be a revolved shape, and to do this we're simply sketching a 2D sketch, just like you would on a napkin. Notice the powerful features of SOLIDWORKS while it's sketching. It's able to reference all the other components in the assembly. This assures a proper fit. If you can see it, you can use it. Visual feedback. As we move things around, as we stretch or pull, we see how the different sketch entities are behaving. We can see that we might want to make sure that that second shoulder is lined up with the shoulder of the other component. The user is free to put in dimensions at any point in time. The colors are changing, the graphics and the feedback is changing. The single dimension command has given us all kinds of powerful capabilities, and one dimension command can put in a variety of different dimensions. SOLIDWORKS is smart and shows the user the different types of dimensions just by picking the different entities. Visual feedback. The user now wants to revolve that shape. A graphical preview of the revolve is given the user, assuring a proper fit and making sure that the orientation is correct as he fills out the command, rather than creating it and having to delete and reinsert the command because it wasn't the right size or direction. Now this gear cover is also going to be bolted on to the back of this assembly. We have some bolt holes that are in the other component, and we simply use those bolt holes directly. Graphical preview in SOLIDWORKS shows if we extrude those bolt holes how far out they're going to go. In this case we only want them to stop at the inside of the gear cover. But watch how much functionality and the breadth of just a simple extrude command is in SOLIDWORKS. We know that this extrude should also have a small offset at the beginning or at the start of these bosses, so that there's a clearance, so that there's a clamping force when it's screwed together. These bosses should be hollow. There's going to be a bolt that goes through there or a screw. In the single command we can make this a thin feature that also puts in that secondary feature of the extrusion. Even the manufacturing information. No plastic part is built straight. They have drafts so that it can be pulled apart. In the existing feature, SOLIDWORKS even gives that type of capability. So in one single feature, we were able to put in a wealth of information. Other systems would require many features simply to achieve the same level of geometry. That makes them much more complex, it makes them harder to understand, and it also makes them much more prone for downstream failure. If we open up this gear cover in its own window, we can interrogate it on its own. We can add more features to it on its own. We can even start documenting this design, because in SOLIDWORKS, parts, assemblies, drawings, they all maintain their relationship. SOLIDWORKS takes care of the bookkeeping so that if anything changes, all the other components are always going to be up to date, reflecting those changes. You don't have to worry about remembering to update or stretch or trim or making all these minor changes that are necessary in a 2D system. Laying out views is simple and it's very visual. If we want to create a section view that goes through the different components, like in this case we want it to go directly through the bosses and down through the bottom, so we created an aligned section view. It gives us a great display of that cross section with a lot of information that's necessary